When you think of Call of Duty Black Ops, you probably think of the FAMAS, the Galil, those late night zombies runs, Nuketown, but underneath the chaos and the explosion, Treyarch was coming up with something interesting and something radical. They were coming up with an economy. For the first time in COD history, players weren't just unlocking, they were earning, saving, and spending their hard-earned Call of Duty points. The system of COD points shaped how we played the game, shaped how we gambled, and maybe even foreshadowed the future of microtransactions within gaming. So after my video on how much it would cost to get a gold weapon in real life, I wanted to take a deeper look into the Black Ops economy. It's so interesting and so bizarre. Released in 2010, Black Ops was the first game in the series to have Call of Duty points. These Call of Duty points, not these. And before Black Ops, Call of Duty's multiplayer was very linear. You would level up, you would unlock a gun at a predetermined level, and then you would just have it unlocked. While Black Ops kept that to a degree, they added a little twist to it. Treyarch wanted to shake things up, and instead of forcing players down a single unlock track, you were able to earn Call of Duty points, and in turn, you could purchase different weapons, items, perks, with your Call of Duty points. So they weren't unlocked by default. You still had to get to, like, let's say 34 to unlock the AK-47. But once you get to 34, you could purchase the AK-47, or you could save your COD points and buy something different. So they let you buy whatever you want. Weapons, perks, attachments, as long as you had the cash. The system flipped the traditional progression model on its head. Suddenly, it wasn't just about grinding levels, but it was managing a budget. Black Ops turned every purchase into a choice, and that was revolutionary. So as a 10-year-old kid, I wasn't just trying to prestige and trying to get attack dogs, I was subtly learning economics. So the first part about any functioning economy is earning the money to spend. So you could earn COD points through almost anything in the game. Matches, leveling up, contracts, and even a more unconventional way that we'll get to later, but it taught my 10-year-old self how to gamble. So in Black Ops, you would earn 10% of your match experience as Call of Duty points. Because of this, there's reasons that double XP used to actually mean something. We could have a double XP weekend, so you'd get obviously double the experience, but that also meant you would get double the Call of Duty points. So it was like working overtime. So on average, per match, you would get about 500-ish to 1,000-ish Call of Duty points per match. Like I said, this is based on skill, so if you're a very high-skilled player, that could be way more, and if you're a low-skilled player, obviously, that can be way less. And every time you would level up, that would be an additional 1,000 points-ish per level up. So you had many ways just by playing the game to earn Call of Duty points. Black Ops also had contracts where you could take on a special challenge and have the potential to earn a lot more Call of Duty points. So let's say the contract is get 20 kills with an SMG within the next 45 minutes. If you completed this, you may get an additional 2,000 COD points. Now the catch was, these contracts costed COD points, so maybe it would cost something slight like 200 Call of Duty points, but if you didn't complete the challenge, you got nothing and you lost your 200 Call of Duty points, so a bit of a risk. So I want to quickly go over the pricing of items in Black Ops. So prices varied in a very wide range. Guns would cost around 2,000 Call of Duty points, attachments 1,000 to 2,000 Call of Duty points, perks would be around 2,000 Call of Duty points, and if you wanted the pro versions, that would be an additional. So just getting the basics of a loadout can add up very quickly. And the cosmetic items like camos, emblems, reticles, sights, those can add up even faster. For the first time in a Call of Duty multiplayer, there truly felt like there was an opportunity cost. After utilizing every loadout option, including pro perks, kill streaks, all of the equipment, and all customization that's available, the price comes out to 49,750 COD points. That's insane for a fully customized loadout. And if you're lucky enough to be 14th prestige and have the COD points for gold, this would bring your total to 100,000 COD points. To think it costs that much for an entire loadout, when as an indecisive kid, I couldn't even decide between a camo, and those are 250 COD points. I probably wasted so many opportunities to try out a new weapon because I couldn't decide on a camo. Every decision means giving up something else. The economy rewarded planning and saving, and it punished reckless spending. And looking back on it, I don't know if Call of Duty has ever had a greater opportunity cost within a multiplayer than with Black Ops. You could argue that maybe the prestige shop system would count, but even then, the economy within Black Ops was so intricate and so robust that I don't think we'll ever see anything like it. And I remember being a dumb kid, not having enough Call of Duty points to try out a new perk or try out a new weapon. My budget and saving were horrible. If I had Call of Duty points, they were burning a hole in my pocket. And do you want to know why I never had any Call of Duty points? Because like I said, Call of Duty Black Ops introduced my 10-year-old self to gambling. And I was absolutely terrible at it. So this was the real twist. Wager matches. Gambling within Call of Duty. This was their first experiment with gambling, and it was brilliant. Well, before supply drops and microtransactions, but when they tested this system, they got it right. Within wager matches, think of it like a casino. You have your penny machines, your penny slots, and then you have your VIP tables. So the low end was the ante up tier, next was the standard weekend gambler, and finally was the coveted high roller. Each had their own buy-in, obviously, and each with increasing rewards. So wager modes like gun game, sharpshooter, sticks and stones, one in the chamber, allowed players to put up Call of Duty points, and depending on how well you do, you would take the pot. Finish in the top 3, and you get your reward based off first, second, or third. Don't get in the top 3, and you lose your buy-in. So here's the buy-in chart, and I'll also show the rewards. So for the ante up, it was a 10 Call of Duty point buy-in. For the weekend gambler, it was 1,000 Call of Duty point buy-in. And for the high roller, it was a 10,000 Call of Duty point buy-in. First place would receive 50% of the buy-in. Second place would receive 30% of the buy-in. And third place would receive 20% of the total buy-in pot. So with a game consisting of 6 players in a high roller match, that's 60,000 COD points up for grabs. So first place, you're going to earn 30,000 COD points for first place. I remember as a kid that all the amazing players were in the high roller. I did it a couple times, always got last place. Those guys were so good. And the fun part with each wager match was there was a way where you could bankrupt your other opponents. So each game you had to get a certain score, but depending on if you do a special requirement, you can make the other players get reset to 0. So imagine you're about to win a sticks and stones game. You're 2 kills away. You have 13,000 points. You get tomahawked from across the map. You instantly go back down to 0 and you have to restart. And thinking on it now, this has got to be where my anxiety came in. I remember sweating profusely before each match and getting so nervous. So I'm sure by that you can imagine that these matches created tension like nothing else in Call of Duty. Suddenly, it wasn't just about pride and being the best. It was about actual currency. And if you won a certain match, you may have enough to buy gold or buy a new weapon. And if you lost everything. And the tension and popularity clearly showed. If you take a look back at classic YouTube around 2010, some of the most popular Black Ops videos are wager matches and trolling in wager matches, and it was such a great time to be a part of the community. Your digital wallet was on the line. It gave every bullet that much weight, and it gave every mistake that much more consequences. For many players, this was the most exciting thing about an economy within Call of Duty. And it brought the economy to life in ways simple unlocks could never do. What Treyarch built was more than just a multiplayer shooter progression system. It was an economy with risk and reward baked in, and it was marvelous. Like I said, as a 10-year-old kid, I was introduced to spending, saving, gambling, speculation. Should you save up your COD points and invest in your playstyle immediately and buy that perk that you just unlocked? Or maybe you save. Maybe there's a better perk or a better weapon in a couple of levels. The decision was immense. These are economic choices and decisions that were just disguised as gameplay decisions. There was opportunity cost for every decision. It even went as far as players not prestiging and earning additional rewards because they didn't want to have to rebuy all of their hard-earned loadouts, and I completely understand. It was so many decisions and so many choices. In a way, Black Ops was asking its player base, and if you think of the average Call of Duty player, come on now, but they were asking their players to be economists. They wanted you to balance risk and reward. They wanted you to manage limited resources. And sometimes, they wanted you to roll the dice and gamble. It was a progression through money management, not just grinding experience points to level up. I like to think that all the kids that got the opportunity to play Black Ops are now big brains like me. But good things can only last for so long before they start to get complicated. Because COD Points didn't last. And when Black Ops 2 came out, the entire system was phased out. And when Call of Duty Points finally returned, you weren't able to earn them in-game. They were bought with real money. And this was the first step in microtransactions, supply drops, loot boxes, and it didn't look good. In hindsight, as brilliant as Black Ops' economy was, it's kind of the turning point for Call of Duty. On one hand, it gave the players freedom of choice, and it showed us an economy within a first-person shooter that we hadn't seen before. But on the other hand, it kind of normalized Call of Duty as a marketplace. What began as a clever and intricate in-game first-person shooter economy foreshadowed years of monetization, not just in Call of Duty, but the entire gaming industry as a whole. It foreshadowed years of predatory practices by these large companies selling loot boxes and weapon skins, and it even going as far as civil lawsuits and court actions brought on by these companies. So was Black Ops' Call of Duty Points system ahead of its time, or did it foreshadow something far more dangerous? To some, it was a fun experience where you felt like you had a real sense of choice. You could spend your hard-earned Call of Duty points, you could gamble, you could earn in so many different ways. And to others, this fueled that not-so-good habit of gambling, which we saw so much more of in recent video games. Either way, Call of Duty Black Ops didn't just redefine how multiplayer progression works, but they also redefined how in-game economies work and the future of monetization within video games. With a system that started out so innocently and gave Call of Duty so much life, was actually its downfall. I will never forget, as a kid, being so excited to be able to spend my hard-earned Call of Duty points. And without Black Ops, I don't know if I would have fell in love with Call of Duty the same way. The in-game economy was bizarre, but it was absolutely brilliant. It gave every Call of Duty player a sense of reward, and I absolutely loved it. And it's why Black Ops is in one of my top 5 games of all time. But the question is, did Black Ops give us that freedom of choice, or did they teach everyone how to gamble? Well, if they did, they didn't teach me very well because I suck at gambling, and I kind of suck at Call of Duty.